So this is my philosophy of education paper. Well, it's not really a paper. I'm doing a video instead. So for my perception of teaching, the first question was, what does teaching mean to you? So from the first day we talked, on the first day of class, or one of the first days, we talked about the impact a teacher has on who a person becomes. And to me, that was really what teaching means, is being that person who impacts someone's life on who they will be. That's really what teaching means, doesn't it? Okay, and then, so in class we took, the philosophy, little checklist, and to see, where your philosophy is aligned, and so, when we did it, I realized that almost all of my philosophies were more based, student-based. I was more aligned with the student-based philosophies. And then, so we discussed, the issues teachers need to address, and so I think the biggest issues I still need to address are how to best challenge students and the best way to learn about how my future students will learn and facilitate, and how to facilitate learning, because I'm probably not the best at it currently, but I might be able to do that in the future. So my perception on learning was the second piece of the puzzle. So my perception on learning had 3 different pieces. So what learning means to me. In the book, it says learning is making connections between various stimuli and responses. But what I think learning really is that if you learn nothing, then one of us is doing something very wrong. Either the teacher's doing something wrong, or the student's doing something wrong, and that's why they're not learning. The student's not learning. That's what I think learning means, is you don't learn, something went wrong. So the second one was learning process. So I was a little confused with this one at first, but I think that from what I've guessed is that I'm supposed to speak about the fact that in class we spoke about the 3 different types of learners. The ones who learn best from seeing, watching, and reading, those would be the visual learners. Then there are the learners who learn best from hearing, speaking, listening. They're the auditory learners. Finally, we have the one I fall under, which is those who learn best from moving, doing, and touching. I'm a kinesthetic learner, which, now you know what a kinesthetic learner is. One of the last things that I was supposed to do for this video, in my case, was my teaching goals. So the first part was goals for my students. So what I had was, I want them to know they can have fun while learning. That I want them to also know that hard work and effort can pay off or make this huge difference in how you get graded. What happens with your grade? If the teacher knows that you worked hard on this, it doesn't matter how good or bad it is, as long as it looks like you tried at least, and that you worked hard on it. That's what teaching really should be about, is, did you try? Did you make a conscientious effort to learn? And so that's really what I want the goals for students to be. So what do you expect students to learn? So in class, we talked about SWBAT, also known as students will be able to. So depending on where I teach, it will change. But if I get to teach kindergarten like I hope to, I will want them to learn their alphabet. I want them to learn how to count. The two that I really want is for them to know how to play nicely with others and to respect themselves as well as others. Because if you don't respect yourself, it's no one else is likely to respect you, and you really should respect everyone, in my opinion. So the next one down was rationale for your goals. So what I've learned from both my intro to education teacher, Miss Patricia, and from a teacher I interviewed for one of my papers, Mr. Odon. Nope. Source of Odin. It is Odin. Okay. From Mr. Odin, is that students learn better when they are having fun. And so that really is my rationale for my goals, is really you need to have fun when you're learning. It works out so much better. So then the last one was, under this section, was personal rigor. So I had a little bit of a hard time figuring out what this was because I didn't remember us talking about it in my education class. So when I started looking, I found out that in educational terms what it meant. And so I figured out that what I want to create lessons that go beyond simply memorizing facts so that students have learning experiences that cause them to dig deeper than the student, so that the student will be able to apply the lessons to their own experiences and challenges in their own own beliefs, and builds confidence and understanding of the material. As I believe this assignment is supposed to do for me and the other students in my intro to education class. So the last part of my philosophy of education is supposed to be, I'm giving you an example of where these things, how I've seen my philosophy fit in the classroom before. So I guess it's not technically a classroom, but I kind of consider the nursery that I work in to be at church to be a classroom in a way, because we work with a whole bunch of preschoolers mostly. And so what we normally do with these preschoolers is we read stories, we play games, we sing songs, and sometimes I teach them some ASL to go with the stories, songs, and sometimes just to sign to their parents. Like, my favorite thing is convincing little children to go like this to their mom or their dad. This means I love you. And so that was one of those things that's like, I want these kids to understand that, and I want these kids to do it, and then I tell them the meaning after I show them the sign, and they can choose whether or not they actually want to sign it to their parents or not. And so I really think that this applies to how I want them to know that these kids learn that you can learn how to read with me or sign along with my stories, and sometimes they're learning sign as they're playing and having fun, and I really think that this applies. My philosophy is exactly what I'm doing in that classroom. Well, in the nursery. But that's how I feel my philosophy of education is. Thank you very much.